I felt an odd, disorienting sensation, like the floor had unexpectedly tilted, and my heart kicked into my throat. An excited and completely irrational voice in the back of my head whispered, "It's him. He's the one." You could blame the romance novels I'd pilfered from my grandmother's bedroom at the much too young age of 11 for my belief in Princess Bride-style true love. Come to think of it, you could probably blame my childhood obsession with the Princess Bride for it too, as long as we were assigning blame. Stupid Wesley, giving me unrealistic expectations. That Wesley-loving little girl who still lived inside me believed in soulmates and fairy tale happily ever afters, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Somewhere out there in the big wide world, I wanted to think my one true love was searching for me and I'd recognize him the instant we finally met. Call it intuition or love at first sight or whatever. I'd always imagined it would feel a lot like this peculiar sensation I experienced as I stared into Bran's eyes for the first time. There was no sign of the nice smile in his photo, but he did have the most alluring mouth I'd ever seen on a man. His upper lip had a lovely, pronounced curve to it that gave the impression of a permanent, sexy pout. "Chloe?" "That's my name," I chirped too loudly, feeling weirdly lightheaded. Maybe that margarita hadn't been as watered down as I'd thought. "You must be Bran." Beneath his lush, wavy hair, a pair of dark eyebrows that fell somewhere between Robert Pattinson and Dan Levy on the thickness scale drew together, creating two deep creases between them. "Were you leaving? I'm not that late, am I?" 20 minutes. Despite my annoyance, I continued to stare at him in a sort of daze. Maybe Franz Mesmer had been onto something with that animal magnetism theory after all. Or perhaps my date was secretly a centuries-old Transylvanian noble with hypnotic powers who slept in a box filled with dirt from his homeland in the Carpathian Mountains. "Sorry," Bran offered in a brusque tone with no hint of contrition. He broke eye contact to remove his suit jacket, releasing me from my besotted trance. "I got caught up at work and lost track of time." Funny. I had also gotten caught up at work, and yet I'd still managed to show up to our date at the appointed time, rather than leave him waiting on me for 20 minutes. Go figure. As Bran helped himself to a seat at my table and directed his attention to the drink menu, I was sorely tempted to cut my losses and leave him to it. What were the odds this rude, unsmiling law student in a suit and tie was my perfect match? Surely they must be astronomical. That weird feeling I'd experienced a moment ago had merely been my hormones overreacting to the presence of a physically attractive man. Biology, not destiny. A pretty pair of eyes did not a soulmate make. Did I really want to sit here for the next hour trying to make conversation with this guy? I'd much rather be at home, curled up on my grandmother's old denim sofa with some yarn and a crochet needle, listening to her catcall Tom Selleck while she watched the latest episode of Blue Bloods. Maybe I should just give up on internet dating and lean fully into the Victorian spinster lifestyle, which would free up more time to work on my fiber art portfolio so I could apply to MFA programs like I kept saying I was going to do. What did I need with a man anyway? I didn't want kids, so what did they have to offer other than sex? And there were plenty of high-tech substitutes available for that. Honestly, the innovations in the sex toy industry these days were nothing short of amazing. Even at the higher price points, you'd more than make back your investment with the long-term time and aggravation saved by not being constantly disappointed by men. While I was in the midst of thinking about sex toys, Bran casually unbuttoned the cuffs of his white dress shirt and rolled the sleeves up to his elbows. Well, damn. Male forearms were a fatal weakness of mine, and Bran's were outstanding examples of the form. Strong and ropey, but not too muscular, tapering to thick wrists, and covered with a layer of fine dark hair I wanted to run my fingers through. A veritable forearm feast for the eyes. It couldn't hurt to stay for one more drink. Might as well give the guy a proper chance, right? As I hopped back onto my stool, a server appeared out of nowhere to take Bran's drink order. She didn't acknowledge my existence until Bran had given his order and asked me if I wanted anything. Only then did she seem to notice me, appearing surprised to find me sitting across from him.